Thank y'all for allowing us to take a short break. We are now going to return to our workshop, and we will now begin with number 5, the consent agenda items. Number A, approve recommendations for city bids and purchases. Number 1, emergency purchase, pump rental for Sanford Knob tank.
Explain this, please. Explain this. What is this?
Okay, what happened was we had a, during the hottest portion of the summer, a couple weeks ago, got to well over 100 degrees. We had the typical south side water shortage that we've had the last several summers. So after hours, Roger Morris and Griggs and Maloney stood out there with her, made a strong recommendation that we immediately rent a pump. We've done this before. It's a pretty typical activity for our distribution crew. Going forward, as an addendum, I'd like to see us consider purchasing a pump. That way we can move it around the system on an as-needed basis. But this was purely an emergency situation. That knob tank got down in the 30% range, and we're getting calls on low pressure. So like I said, it typically happens to, I think it was September, October timeframe last year.
Why is there no PO number on this?
It's a failure of mine. Sir?
Or the other one? I mean, we've got laws we have to go by for PO numbers. It's not being followed. I mean, it's definitely something we got to pay for, but this is a problem.
There's a failure in that, and it's mine. We should have called the following day and let somebody at finance know that we needed one. Normally, we have somebody down there who would cover us on that, and this person was off on vacation in that time frame, and it was a simple oversight. But we have certainly dedicated ourselves to fixing that going forward.
And I will have to say, this is about the 4th time that we've had to rent a pump. And they've all been roughly, what, 15,000?
About 10,
each time?
10, 11.
You know, so I'm not real sure what one of these costs. But we may need to look into that, because once we get it, it's not just go get it, use it for an hour or so. I mean, we're having to pay for days and days. And yes, we are looking at getting our pump station on that side, but it's not going to be for another couple of years. We're certainly working with the land issues. We've got a lot of different issues to work out, but we may need to look at, we can't continue to spend this kind of money on rental if we could possibly in any way purchase it for what 4 times May of rental. And this probably won't be the last time before this season's over.
Certainly the next year we'll be in the same situation unless we buy. We have some estimates from the retreat, the capital plan last year. We were considering this purchase going into this year, and the estimates were in the range of $80,000 to $100,000 for the pump we need.
But yeah, get those POs, everybody, all departments, we have to have these POs. It's mandatory. So please. Questions, any more comments? Vice Mayor, anything?
I'm good on that for now.
Okay. All right, number 2, purchase first aid kits for the police department. Chief?
One of the things that I found when I got here was there were virtually no bloodborne pathogen kits or blood bodily fluid kits in the majority of the patrol vehicles. That's a necessary tool for law enforcement officers. And the majority of the first aid kits were old. They had not been restocked. They were in bad shape. Some of them were in trunks that leaked, and most everything had been ruined. So we're looking at replacing everything we have for each vehicle. The kits that we've looked at not only contain the components of the bloodborne pathogen kit along with the trauma kit, and it's not just a first aid with band-aids, etc. It's a true trauma kit. And in addition has a splint that would be necessary to safely, not a splint, a tourniquet that would be necessary with a gunshot wound to an extremity, etc. And also gunshot trauma tools that would be needed for a sucking chest wound and also for some major bleeding stoppage potentially. And these kits will come out of the current year's budget, out of our small equipment fund, so there won't be additional monies that we'll be asking for. But we've put it out for bid, and I believe it's, I can't remember, Phyllis, a little over, I think it's a little over $100. Ricky, you remember? Was it? Okay.
And unfortunately, there have been situations where y'all have needed.
Yes, ma'am, because usually even though fire goes on first responder calls, the officers are usually a lot closer because they're already there, and fire has to come from a station to somewhere, and if they're in a zone, they're there closer normally. And if a situation occurs like we had during the meeting been going on, we had a young man that threatened to kill his mama and then poked a couple of holes in the wall and then took off running. But if he had been armed and had fired at one of the officers and hit him, then we're looking at probably 3 to 4 minutes potentially before we could get fire there to assist, or even one of our first responders. So it's important that we have these tools, I think, available.
Also, we do, I think I've seen someone with the gloves on, the good, I call them the EMT gloves.
Yes, ma'am.
They're it's a thicker type of glove.
It is. It is.
And we do make sure that because they are first responders as well. A lot of them are trained.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly. And even if they're not first responders, they've had at least a basic class in doing CPR or some major hemorrhaging stoppage, some things of that nature. So they have some basic first aid training too.
Good.
And then there are a lot of us that are old EMTs that may not be certified anymore, but you
still know
can't
what
take
to
the
do.
knowledge from us.
Yeah, you still know what to do. Any questions? All right, sole source is at the quad crisis. Am I saying that?
It is. It's what's commonly known as a throw phone, and a throw phone is utilized in crisis or hostage negotiations where someone is in a building and they're threatening to commit suicide, et cetera, and trying to establish contact with them. This is something that we were able to get a reallocation within our JAG grant, our 100% Justice Assistance Grant. So it will be fully 100% federally funded. It's a phone that we'll utilize not only for SWAT in certain situations to make contact, but for, I don't know if y'all realize it or not, but we now have a group of about 8 personnel in the police department that have been trained in formally trained in crisis and hostage negotiations. They're training with other agencies as well. They just finished one last week with Franklin Police Department, and we've been invited to train with others too, including the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department. But as you well know, we've had some officers that have talked some younger folks down from jumping from 2 bridges, one at Jefferson Pike over the railroad and one actually at Old Hickory Boulevard on I-24 in Davidson County, because Metro didn't respond and we were there. Plus we've had several within houses here too, since I've been here, about 4 within houses themselves. And this is a phone that will not only give us direct established communications with them, but we can throw the phone in and it will monitor it, and we can record with it, et cetera, and down the road we can even link video with it.
That's great. Let's just go on. Do y'all have any questions? Any questions on this? While you're up there, let's just go on and get the purchase and installation of the dispatch base station at the police station.
There is a tremendous need, and I put it in my budget. We discussed it in budget hearings for back-end equipment at the police department when the 800 megahertz infrastructure was established here to connect through Metro's network. This should have been done then. It was piecemealed, and for whatever reason it wasn't done. So we have equipment that doesn't match up, it's patched, and it will not work properly with the current infrastructure. Once we go to P25, we're going to have capabilities to do everything we need to do on the back end plus here. This is a first part of that that will also be taken out of existing funds. What was that?
98, 93.
What we're actually doing is taking mobile radios and making them what's called a consolette, which hooks them up with the consoles, but they're actually a mobile radio there. We'll have 3 at the PD and 2 at the Emergency Operations Center that will allow dispatchers to monitor additional frequencies at one time, which they cannot do now. We're limited a maximum of 3. What we have on the back end, we're struggling right now just to get those programs so that we can move to P25 when Metro switches over. This is a stopgap measure. This is not our panacea. It does not get us what we have to have long-term, but it gets us through for the time being until we can upgrade, get the appropriate consoles put in and the appropriate equipment on the back end as well to link with Metro's infrastructure. And this, again, is not additional money we're asking for. It's coming out of existing budget.
Any questions?
That is state bid.
Yeah, okay, I figured it was. State bid. State
Yes,
bid.
it is on state bid.
Awesome. Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
Can I ask one more favor?
You sure
While we're
can.
here, we can get F out of the way while I'm standing here if you want
Oh,
to do
you
that.
sure can. Go right
We'll get
ahead.
that part and then I'll have more later.
Okay.
As a result of purchasing the new vehicles, the equipment, all of it is on the way now. 2 on duty who has a contract for install. And once that's done, we're going to be pulling vehicles out of service. We've been losing on the average about 1 every couple of weeks. That's engines locking up, transmission going out, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to be pulling those older ones. Plus, we've also got some vehicles that have been sitting over there too long. We're supposed to be getting the fencing. They were supposed to have been here end of last week. Then I had the end of this week. I haven't seen them yet, but they're supposed to be coming to expand the lot over here and do the fencing install that was approved back a few months ago. Once that's done, we'll move vehicles away from the Senior Citizen Center and have them all here. We'll have more space, but we need to clear some of those out. That brings in not only revenue to the drug fund, but the general fund too, with some of those old vehicles, plus with these others. And we got a whole slew of them, as you can see, a bunch of them that are old. There are actually 9, I believe, that are seized vehicles. Some of them that 2 that we've been using in that bottom list, the top 2 that we've been using, and we're going to go ahead and sell those because we don't need to use them anymore. And the others are either DUI or revoked for DUI, seized under that statute that have been awarded to us. We'll sell those. And then the others are simply the surplus vehicles, and you see the newest is a 2005 Impala as far as marked vehicles, patrol vehicles. And that's one that it just died. He totally died. And it's not worth trying to repair because it's an Impala high mileage. And if we can, we're going to take the radios out and all the other law enforcement equipment. If it's a law enforcement agency, we're going to sell it as it is. Sell them all the equipment so we get a little more money out of them with the partitions and light bars, sirens, et cetera, that we can't use again. And what we're going to do there is just ask the approval to go ahead and process that.
Okay. Any questions? Questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right. We're going to go back to number 4 under A, state contract snowplow truck for street department. Darling, you want to take this one for us?
Yes, this truck will be coming out of State Street 8. It's a 2012. I think you got it in your package here. I think total on it was $48,150. We don't have but one snowplow in the whole city. And trying to utilize something on the back roads and the hills for the fire department, and also for, it can be utilized during the year for other things. It'll
And
have a
we
towing
had
package.
this in the budget to get one of these
No.
this year.
No, it's coming out of State
State
Street
Street
Aid.
Aid, you told me that. Okay. And this is, state contract,
State contract, the whole package.
and that's
It's a
for everything
Lock
coming.
and key, it comes with everything on it, all the emergency lights, brake package, towing package, everything.
Any questions? Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. B, approve agreement with Paradise Amusements, Inc. to provide the carnival for Old Timers Festival. Jeff, you want to give us a little briefing on this new?
Darrell Lane, to be in Chattanooga area about 4 months ago, I guess it was, and went to this event, and these folks were there, Paradise Amusements were there. Very clean, family-oriented carnival, step up from last year, I believe. And he began talking to him, entering into negotiations. They sent a basic agreement, I don't know if we want to call it a contract or not, that we forwarded to Bruce, and I think Evan looked at it as well.
No?
No? Okay. But it's a one-page agreement, basically just talking about the dates and percentages and whatnot, and it just needs to come before the board for approval.
We've got time, please make sure Evan gets a copy of that anytime. But yeah, we were pretty excited. We were looking at the pictures, wasn't it?
We're trying to.
Okay,
Their webpage needs help.
so. All right, any questions?
They're busy.
All right.
Google webpage.
C, approve Amendment 1 to the agreement with TDOT for the implementation of the Safe Routes to School. Kyle, I believe that's you? Did Monty?
It's basically just extending the date from what I understand, wasn't it, Bruce? It's just extending another year.
Yeah. All right. D is approve agreement with Regional Transportation Authority for fiscal year 2012, 2013.
This is the agreement we do every year with
With
RTA
Relax
for
and
the
Ride.
Relax and Ride. So this is the one for this next fiscal year.
And we've already allotted the money and everything for this in the budget. I believe I brought that to you several months ago. All right. E, approve the donation of a lighting detection system for Veterans Memorial Park from the Laverne Baseball and Softball Association. This is a donation.
Yes, ma'am, this is the equipment that Ricky and Robert and myself at AC talked with the sales rep from Thorgard. The league has stepped up and said that they would donate the $17,000, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, plus dollars for the system. That'll give us full coverage in Veterans Memorial Park, and that's not just the baseball, that's for all users of the park, of which we have kids playing tennis, skate park, walkers, and everybody. And there will be some peripheral coverage as well on some of those outlying condominiums right there. I dare say that goes into courtyard condominiums in Rutherford Point, but there will be some coverage. I think each warning device is capable of 35 acres, of which the park is 55. So we'll have more than enough coverage. We'll have units located in each of the baseball concession stands, and then that overlap then will cover football and the others. So we're real excited that they're doing this, and it's it's their give back to the community this year for all that they've done for us and whatnot.
Good. Any questions? And two, once this gets in, I think we need to sit down and come up with absolute protocol, and these coaches and the league and all, and the city employees knowing once this goes off, all of us need to be trained on it, really. We're there and it goes off, what to do.
Right.
Sounds good. That's awesome. All right, number 6. This is the economic development We do have one opening. Mr. Robert St. John has done a wonderful job for this city. He has really been a huge supporter. Unfortunately, he will be moving from Laverne. And I just want everybody, if y'all see Mr. St. John, thank him for the time that he's given. He has just really been a breath of fresh air on this board, and very supportive. But he does not wish, well, of course, he is moving out of Laverne. So that's a sad for us. It's a good retirement time for he and his wife, so we are very proud for them for that, but it's a sad time for us. So anybody that knows of a business owner, someone in the local businesses that would be interested, and this is a really good board. We've been working really, really hard. We are looking to revamp this board, make some changes in this board to make it even more beneficial, a better working board. So anybody that y'all feel, please pass the word along and ask them to please put their name in for that. Number 7 will be a motion to approve or reject bids for the interstate pump station project. Now this is the sewer. So, Mr. Jerry, I'll let you.
We brought this before the work session. We are receiving bids on the 7th of August. We will be able to, talking with our consulting engineers, tabulate, have it ready for you folks for the 9th.
Okay.
This is a project that's been needed in our department. The interstate is ready to go out. We just wanted to present it here so then you could approve it on the 9th.
Who's the consultant engineer?
Pardon?
Who's the consultant engineer?
CTI, Neil Hall.
All right, Ms. Phyllis, lay it on us. This is, number 8 is the first reading of ordinance 2012-15, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 general fund budget.
As you know, Mayor and Alderman, each year around this time we do our year-end cleanup of expense and revenue to our budget, whether we're over or under, and we have to do an amendment to our 11-12 budget to reflect that. In the revenue side for the general fund, I'm requesting that we increase the revenues by $1.9 million, and you have a breakdown of the explanation for that in front of you, with the biggest portion of it being the proceeds from the capital outlay note. I've also requested that we decrease revenue $650,000 in our property taxes, where we didn't quite meet our budget this year. Also in our city court fines and costs, where we are not quite meeting the budget by $200,000. In our expenditures, we have went over in several departments. In the city recorder, that's mainly wages and benefits and professional services. In our tax department, that consists of $23,000 in the tax relief, a Rutherford County audit invoice that we got, and a little bit in wages. In the Treasury Department, which is my department, we were over $25,000. This is mainly due to wages and insurance increase. And the reason that you see that is because of wages. Even though no one technically got a huge increase, we did have a lot of vacation payout from 3 employees that are no longer with us. So that makes we don't budget for that, and that does reflect in our numbers at year end. Emergency services, we're over $5,800, and that's in emergency communication, hazmat, and operating supplies. Rabies and animal control, we increased the budget from 15 to 21 during the year, but we never really did a formal budget amendment to that. So this is taking care of that. In culture, we paid out $131,600 for a THDA improvements, and you'll notice up in the revenues where we increased it, we received that from I think it's from the state, so we get that money from. So that was just a cleanup item. It's just a wash. And in Parks and Rec, Parks and Rec was over about approximately 12,500, and with the biggest portion of that being unemployment this year. Debt service was over about $400. I think that was for some service charges and a little bit of expense there. Operating transfers, we, I think the board had agreed during the year to transfer $34,000 to the Parks Capital Fund for the Brookside project. And then in the police department, we're over $798,000. And most of that, of course, is due to the purchase of all the new vehicles and all that. Some of that's wages too. Decreased expenditures. We had a few departments whose expenses were reduced. One of them being city administrator, and that's due to a position that was not filled throughout the whole year. In the fire marshal, that position was not full through the whole year. Highways and streets, we did not fill a position there, and we were down. We didn't spend all the operating supplies, and I think there was some signage that was budgeted for, then we didn't spend that. In the fleet department, we're down $73,000, and that's mainly due to a position that wasn't filled, some insurance, and some operating supplies. And that is it for the general fund. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Okay, we're gonna move on. Y'all stop it at any time. First reading, ordinance 2012-16, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 State Street Aid Fund budget.
In this fund, we're increasing revenues and also increasing expenditures. We received about $125,000 more in revenues than what we budgeted for, with 85 of that coming from state gasoline and motor fuel taxes, and then 40,000 of it coming from a bond proceed call. And then in the expenditure side, we our street lighting expense was up $20,000, repair and maintenance on roads was up $25,000, and then other improvements was $45,000, and I believe that was for some equipment.
Any questions? All right, next is ordinance 2012-17, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 Senior Citizens Fund budget.
In this department, we're increasing expenditures for one line item, mainly the food line item. And over the past couple of years, that the seniors has spent a little bit more money on food, and I think we've addressed that in the next coming budget. So.
Yes. Okay. 2012-18, an ordinance to amend fiscal year 2011-2012 drug fund budget.
Yes, in this department, we have some increase in expenditures in the transportation equipment. I believe that's where we purchased some motorcycles that we had purchased it through the drug fund. And then under undercover operations, the expense was up $56,000, and that's pretty typical because we never know what those draws are going to be until close to the year end, because they do accumulate over the year. And then we decreased the expenditures for small items of equipment by $10,000.
Everybody with us? All right, moving on. First reading, ordinance 2012-19, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 Library Special Revenue Fund budget.
Yes, in this department, we increased expenditures for improvements other than building, and I think that was for some heat and air unit. And then we decreased expenditures for the repair and maintenance service by $50,000.
Okay. First reading, ordinance 2012-20, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 Stormwater Fund budget.
This department, we decreased expenditures by $340,000. 6 coming from health, 40,000 from architectural engineering, 15 from professional services, 5 from repair and maintenance of vehicle, $140,000 on ditch and drainage repair, 10,000 on repair and maintenance service, $75,000 on building, and $49,000 on construction and maintenance. Those are funds that were not utilized during the year.
Number 14, first reading ordinance 2012-21, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 Parks Capital Projects Fund budget.
This capital project parks, we increased revenue by approximately $34,000, and that was from the money that we transferred from the general fund. We decreased our park impact fees and the state revenue allocation by $100,000, and we also decreased the expenditures on the greenway, so we didn't spend the money that we, we budgeted for the greenway every year. Therefore, we didn't get the revenue on the expense side of that.
Alrighty. All right, number 15, first reading ordinance 2012-22, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2011-2012 water and sewer fund budget.
I only had one department that we were overspent on this year, the water sewer fund, that is the sewer department. We overspent in overtime, we overspent in the metro, water and sewer. We overspent, there's 15 in overtime, 34 in the metro charges, 53,000 for professional services, $25,000 for repair and maintenance, and 35,000 for operating supplies. And we also decreased, well, the offset to that is the, what's called retained earnings. That's the offset to that. So we decreased the fund balance by $162,000.
Sewer gets us every time, doesn't it? All right. Any questions on any of this? If you have, either ask now or if y'all get home, think about it, please give Phyllis a call between now and
I think,
tonight.
Bruce, you probably have in your packet a complete detail line by line, I believe. If you want to look at that, if you have any questions, just give me a call.
I did not include that in the
You
packet.
didn't include, okay.
Any questions? Thank you. All right, number 16, Resolution 2012-09, a resolution to accept Water's Edge subdivision, Section 9. The Planning Commission has not met.
Right.
That's why there's question marks.
Mayor, in the package, you'll have to actually click on number 18. I got these out of order in the packet
Okay.
for the actual resolution.
Okay. Okay, I see where we're at now. Okay. This is, Kyle can help me with this one. This will be before Planning Commission Tuesday night. This is the area that we've already called in the letter of credit. Stuff has been done.
Yes, Mayor and Board, this is one of the remaining sections of Water's Edge. A couple years ago, we called on letters of credit for 6, 7, 8, and 9 to do the paving. 6, 7, and 8 we already accepted, and then on Phase 9 we had a stormwater maintenance bond that Evan had worked out with them. So now that we've got all the letter or bonds on these complete, we need to just formally accept the subdivision.
And of course, by the time we meet, we will know what recommendation the Planning Commission will be given at that time. Any questions? All right. Number 17, motion to approve a joint representation agreement with Bass, Berry, and Sims, PLC, regarding the water supply issues with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
It's number 16 in the packets.
Yes. as y'all all know, we're in arguments, I guess if you, for the lack of a better word, with the Corps of Engineers regarding our water storage, where they are trying to get each of the Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and the Consolidated United District, they're trying to make us pay more for our water storage, which in Laverne's case, it's roughly, I think, $2 million extra that they're trying to make us pay for the storage that we've already paid for once. So we've all come together once again, like we did in the sewer, when we were fighting Metro of the sewer. All of us have joined forces to, and hire this company. And what they've done, they've gone in and done it on percentages, and they're at least asking us to pay 10% because we have the least amount to worry about, but we still want in on that. And so with our portion will be 10% to have these attorneys represent us as we fight not to pay the $2 million, which I'm sorry, but I think that's not a lot of money to fight when we've already paid this once, and they're wanting an extra $2 million. So that is, that's what this agreement is. And I think did it have in here, Bruce, our portion, what it basically would be?
Well, we don't have a total dollar amount just because we have no clue at this point.
How long
This is going to take. The attorney charges $400 per hour is the normal rate, so we're having to pay 10% of that just for that. Now, of course, there may be other costs down the road.
Right.
But this is, our fees are going to be 10% of the total.
So we figure this is a small portion to pay, considering what, if they get away with this, what are they going to do? Come back in 5 more years and ask for another $2 or $3 million? So we think this is well worth the fight here.
This law firm that you're hiring here has tons of experience fighting with the Corps and successfully. So it's the best place to be in terms of the battle we've got to wage with what the Corps is doing to us.
Exactly.
It's not right.
And $40 an hour?
Yeah. I mean, really.
We're paying $40 an hour for a lawyer.
In the grand scheme of things, it is.
That's exactly right.
You know, compare that to the $2+ million that they're going to try to get out of us. So
If we can save on that, it'll be well worth it.
it'll be well worth it. Well worth it.
$40 an hour ain't bad.
All right.
Will you work that in?
I don't know. Depends on what day you ask me.
Number 18, motion to approve an amendment to engineering design contract with Hart Freeland Robertson, Inc. for the Cheney Road Sidewalk Project. Mr. Cotton.
Mayor and Board, this is, if you'll remember, we had a contract with Hart Freeland Roberts. It was back in April of 2010 to do the Cheney Sidewalk Project. On the design, in the proposal, they said they'd do it for $70,500, and if you'll remember, we brought it back to you to pick one side of the road or the other so we could reduce the surveying costs, because at that time, the city was paying 100% for the design services because we still hadn't had the amendment with TDOT finalized yet. Well, we basically did that, which reduced the surveying cost. However, in the original contract, it basically said that the sidewalks would be at the right-of-way line pretty much the whole way, which would reduce the cost of design because they wouldn't have to design for drainage and things like that. And it also says in there that if they had to move it closer to the road and design for drainage and stuff, that we would renegotiate it. And basically what they're asking is this, instead of getting into negotiation about it, is just if they could get paid what they reduced the survey by, to where we're still paying just the $70,500 that we agreed to originally, but that way they would get more money for the additional design that they did do. The other thing that's the major portion, and this is a lot more money involved, is the CEI services. Like I said previously, it's the agreement that we had was from April of 2010, and then in this new contract, it kind of goes into an explanation of why they are needing more money for CEI services. Is basically in February of 2011, the local programs, you got to follow their guidelines, and they have a manual that you have to follow. They updated that manual in February of 2011, which was after their contract date with us, and it basically put more stringent regulations in place. Also, we've had a class since then that basically tells that And if you look at the original contract, it says that city services would, or city inspectors would do some of the inspecting, and that's kind of how we was gonna reduce the cost. Well, we can't do that and get federal money. We'll get penalized for that and probably have to pay money back. So they basically run the hours that they think and estimate is gonna be involved in this, and that's where they come up with the figure that's, I think on, page 3 or 4. It's $80,394.93. But they're gonna do it on an hourly basis, not to exceed that. If they, get to that amount, that's it. The original was 10% of the actual construction contract, which would have been $46,900 something, because it's $469,000 contract. But it's up to this board, but from just reviewing it myself, it looks fair that they're asking this because of what the regulations are now, because in the CEI portion of it, if we don't do everything exactly right and have somebody out there the whole time with them that are certified, then we run the risk of paying all the money back to them. And the biggest thing too to add at the end is we're still under budget even with these changes. We'll still be in line with meeting the budget for this project.
And again, please understand, state changed their guidelines. So now, if the guy moves a rock, somebody's got to be out there to watch him move the rock, basically. I mean, they can't do anything without these being on site now.
Yeah, any pay item that's been installed, there has to be someone from the CEI there, and they're the ones that has to do it. So that's it. I mean, you figure up the hourly rate of that, and it gets expensive quick. So.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Number 19. Motion to close the Stones River Greenway project and for the purpose of grant funding, declare the project completed.
I basically get a call about once every 6 months, Bruce, from the state on this. The Stones River Greenway project, it was the project that went from basically sidewalks from the library all the way down Stones River Road to the roundabout. They'll call because there's, I think it's $7,000, isn't it? Yeah, it's $7,600 that's left in the fund, and they want to know. I guess Federal Highways looks at or audits the state and sees that money and nothing being done the past couple of years, so they want us to either close it out or do something with the money. And with any state regulations we'd have to follow, we would spend a whole lot more than $7,600 trying to use the $7,600. So the project is complete and we don't have any plans to do anything else on that portion, so there's probably not much we can do besides close the project out.
And no, we cannot move it to any other project.
Yeah, that's the bottom portion of that. That's where the state email back says we cannot move it.
So, any questions? Okay. All right, number 20. Discussion, trade upgrade handguns for the police department.
Mayor, Alderman, this is that all?
I don't think you are. Okay.
It worked good earlier with the computer.
Yeah.
You're welcome, TJ.
Oh.
I think the IT guy's problem. The weapons we have now, the handguns that are issued to officers, are about 10 years old. Now, 10 years for a handgun for the majority of the people would not be an issue. I've fired handguns that are several years old. What happens with law enforcement handguns, though, is because of the requirements on us up front when we get them, going through the academy, when we do all of our regular training annually throughout the year, etc. We have literally tens of thousands of rounds that are fired through our handguns. Once you start approaching 10 years normally, and with some weapons it may be 6 or 7, you begin seeing some big problems. We're beginning to see problems and issues with our handguns. What's critical about it is that with a law enforcement handgun, if you're in the heat of battle, not just for our own protection, but protection of the citizens too, if you have something happen, that can be a very very bad situation, to say the least. What I'm requesting is permission from this group to proceed formally in working on a request for proposal with Glock, because we have Glocks, we're used to them, on the Generation 4 handguns that they have that are Model 21s, the .45 calibers, to work with them and look at what the cost would be to replace the weapons we have by trading to them the weapons we have, one for one, and also by building into that request for proposal an acceptance of seized handguns we have that have been awarded to us by the court. That's one of the things law enforcement agencies can do under the statute. We can trade it for ammunition or weapons to be used by the department. That would allow us a lot more leverage, and I don't think we would have a whole lot then that we would have to put out up front, if any. We'll just have to wait and see. But this is for permission to move forward with a request for proposal to see what we can do and what we can get to replace the 10-year-old or so handguns with new handguns that are also new generation with a lot of improvements and enhancements.
I don't see a problem whatsoever checking into that. I think it's,
Yeah, this does not require any kind of board action. He just wanted to let you know what he's planning on doing and proceeding from here.
oh, absolutely. Good. All right. Number 21.
Number 21 is the request to move forward with RFP for our CAD records management mobile client request for proposal. I've got something we've been working on, and if you can see from where you are, there are several lines on each sheet that looks like an Excel spreadsheet here that I've got. There are over 500 segments, not just lines, but segments that we're having to go through to build in, and I work on it pretty much every day, every night actually, after I go home is about the only time I can, and go through to look at and add to ensure that what we're asking for and hopefully what we get will do everything we need it to do, which will fine tune it. But this is for permission to go ahead and proceed. And I would like to tell you at this time too, within the next couple of weeks, I should have finalized a formal letter from you, Mayor, to the Rutherford County Emergency Communications District Board, 911 Board, which I serve on in your stead, and also a PowerPoint requesting them to fund the computer-aided dispatch portion of the overall software for this project, and I'm using kind of an educated guess here, probably somewhere around $125,000 of the total cost for this project would be just the software itself for the CAD. It wouldn't pay for the hardware, but the hardware's got to be there anyway to do the records management, mobile client part of it, et cetera. So,
Okay, good deal.
it's just a heads up that we're going to be asking for that to help offset those costs.
Great.
They've done it for Rutherford County SO. They've done it for other folks, and I've already put them on notice at the last meeting.
And
Get
they
ready.
enjoy our tax money dearly.
That's
so.
correct. We pay county taxes here too,
That's right.
and we pay ECD fees.
Absolutely. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions on that? We're still dropping some calls from time to time, and thank good Lord, nothing's been really bad so far.
Good. Good deal. All righty. Let's see. Number 22, discussion cable TV audit, Lewis and Associates.
Mayor and Alderman, I was approached by Lewis and Associates via email a couple of months ago. And this is a firm that would like to come out and do an audit of our, basically our Comcast franchise fees that we get. It's kind of like doing a sales tax audit. They take a list of who is paying sales taxes versus what businesses we have, what they'll do is they'll get a list from Comcast of all the residents in the city of Laverne who actually has Comcast, and then they'll compare it to the franchise fees to see if we did indeed receive the franchise fees. There's a few things I don't like about the recommendation here because there is a fee for this. It's one of the options is for 5-year review is $20,000 plus actual out-of-pocket cost. This firm is in Florida, so there may be a little bit of travel time. What I have found in some of these firms that go out and do this, now they specialize this, and there's no doubt in my mind that they are experts at this and can pull the information together and view it and audit. But generally, most companies like this generally negotiate if they save you X number of dollars, they get a percentage of it. Well, they're wanting money, you know, a lump sum money instead of a percentage. So that's one of the things I really didn't like about this contract because, you know, that doesn't really give them an incentive to really look hard for us any money. You know, if they could do their audit, get their $20,000 and tell us, well, we didn't find anything. So I haven't passed this on to Evan because I wasn't even sure if the board was even interested in looking at this. So that's all I needed to know. I told the gentleman that I would present it to the board.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to do one. We
Yeah.
have done one in the past that I can remember, but it's been several years ago.
Yeah.
And
But I'm not sure if this
but
company would.
but the lump sum thing, I don't agree with at all. We need to
And I'll
go out
reply to him that, you know, we were concerned with a lump sum. And you know, this is something that we could do ourselves. It would be very time consuming, and right now we don't have the staff to do it, but, you know, hopefully sometime in the future we'll.
And I agree, it does need to be done, but I'm not sure that this is the.
But you've also got AT&T, you've got TDS now.
Right.
That are all providing cable services, so Comcast isn't the only game in town. So
Right.
we probably need to look at all three, doing an audit on all three.
Yep.
We don't get anything from them. Never have, never will.
They're off the grid.
Yeah, they don't use our right-of-ways, they don't use, you know, because it's a dish, they pull their signal from satellites, so.
Any questions?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. All right, we're narrowing it down. Number 25, this is a resolution to ratify the actions of the city engineer in calling the letter of credit to finish the improvements for Pinnacle Point Phase 1. Motion to approve the paving of streets in Pinnacle Point Phase 1. I'll give y'all a brief history here quickly, and then I'll let Mr. Brown take it. We have Deluxe Homes, which is Scott Butler. We have received information in Phase 1 that he has no intentions of finishing Phase 1. We have a bond, I can't give you the exact, but it's roughly a little over $74,000 that's in the letter of credit. The bank is not going to renew the letter of credit. Mr. Butler's attorney sent he has absolutely no intentions of finishing it. So we can do one of two things. We can not take the money, and we're going to be hung with the entire bill, or we can take this money, and we're going to have to do the road either way. So do we want $75,000 of the roughly $100,000 that it's going to cost us to finish out in there? And I'm just throwing out, I'm not giving them the exact numbers. I think with the paving, it was going to be about $12,000 more than what that's worth.
Basically, the paving, we'll have to, me and Evan's gonna talk a little bit more about it. Got an estimate from Hoover just to do the public streets, and I've got some printouts of what's, you probably have in your slides, that way you can kind of see the plat and look at it yourself out there to see what I'm talking about as a private drive. But if you're just doing the public streets, it's just a little under $80,000 to do it, but it's $8,600 to finish topping that private drive, which me and Evan need to probably discuss this a little bit more to see if it would be the city's responsibility or not. Kind of want to discuss that and maybe give you a suggestion of what to do on that. And then there are some sidewalks out there that need to be complete, but that's not something that we'll have to do that totally separate at a later date because, for one, Hoover's just got the paving contract. I just wanted to get an estimate from them just so everyone would see. And plus, if the paving come underneath the $74,000, I wanted to make sure that we showed that there's still a lot of stuff out there to be completed. That way we could call on the full amount. So that's why I've got the estimate for it, but we'll still have to do some sidewalks out there. And that's about all I can really say on it, I guess.
We got concerned enough with the way the situation started to develop late last week and early this week that Kyle and Bruce and I wanted to bring it to the attention of the mayor so that the mayor could take action to protect the taxpayers of the city, which is exactly what she's done.
Absolutely. But once again, we have, and I may point your finger at me for saying it, it's a classic example of a developer taking the taxpayers to the bank.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they made money any way you can look at it out there with those homes and left us holding the bag. And I mean, that's exactly what happened. And it infuriates me. But there again, I'd rather have the $74,000 than nothing at all. So those are our two choices.
And this will be on the agenda at the meeting as two separate items. One will be the resolution to ratify the calling, and then the other will be the motion to approve the actual paving. And we still have some discussion as far as exactly what to do there, but this will be two separate items on the meeting agenda.
Any more questions or comments on this? I mean, if you have any more, you feel free to call me, Kyle, or Evan. And I wish there was something we could do. I mean, this is happening all over America, and then they wonder what's wrong with America now. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's us paying for them to make money. That's basically it in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why we can't, once they hang us like that, and it's in the same concept, why can we not hold them accountable?
There may be ways.
Okay.
Without getting into too much detail
Exactly.
right now, because we've got this we've got to deal with, and I've got some thoughts on it.
Okay,
But at some point, it may be something for all of us to discuss going forward, because I think like the mayor pointed out, every city across the country has probably learned a lot of lessons through this downturn and been burned a few times, and that's all it takes to make you want to do something else.
All right. Any more questions, comments on this? All right.
Mayor,
Sherry. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
can I throw one thing in real quick before
Absolutely.
the aldermen do? August the 4th, 10 a.m., 3 p.m., Battle of the Badges, which is Fire, the donut place, and the real place. We have fun bannering, but it's for a really good cause. The Red Cross is really hurting for blood right now. It's a blood drive for the Red Cross, and there's a lot out there on it, and I encourage everybody to please go online and log in and get a time. We need at least 40 pints, 40 people signing up to give 40 pints minimum.
And you can donate in someone's honor.
Yes, you can.
I cannot give blood, so if someone would love to donate in my name to the fire department, that would be
Don't forget you're driving home tonight. I can't either. But then
next Saturday.
it's next Saturday from 10 to 3 in the lot on the east side of Merchandise Liquidators.
It's
Not
gonna be
offhand.
Liquidator.
Not offhand. Plug it into their GPS. Right. No, it's across from TG's. Easy to find. It's 51 something in it or 52. Okay. It's either 51. Yeah, it's close to 52. And the other thing is National Night Out.
Absolutely.
Beginning at 5 that afternoon. National Night Out is the 7th, on Thursday the 7th. And we got a lot of good things there for the kids. Want everybody to come out and show support.
Tuesday, the
Pardon me?
7th. Tuesday.
What'd I
the
say?
7th.
You said Thursday.
Thursday.
I'm sorry, Tuesday the 7th. Thursday the 9th is the meeting, is the
Right.
reason I'm telling you this tonight. Anyway, get everybody to come out. There are going to be hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza, things of that will be there. And it's a really good event so that we can show folks that we're sticking together and we're going to keep our
Absolutely.
community safe together. Neighborhood watch, et cetera, et cetera. So we ask everybody to come out and see the fire department lose the tug of war
Some
again
more
this year,
battles
and the
going
police
on.
department probably lose the softball game. How's that? 5237, Assistant Chief McCormick tells me. 5237 Murfreesboro Road. Out there.
Thank you. Miss Sherry.
Oh, you're waiting for... The only thing I can say is I'm full and I'm sleepy.
Oh, this has been a long one.
Oh, I can't give blood either, so if anybody wants to do something in honor of Alderman Green, I would appreciate it.
I want to apologize to the employees that were here during the water audit that CTI did. That was really an embarrassment, and I'm just disgusted with the way CTI acted in here, and it's disgusted me ever since it happened. And I want to apologize to the employees and Griggs and Maloney for the way they acted about that. It was just embarrassing.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Soon to be
It's
dad?
just been,
Maybe a dad by the time we come back?
yeah.
Woo-hoo.
I really got nothing. I mean, I can give blood, and I'm gonna give blood Saturday, and encourage everybody to come out. And, that's
Did you know the address?
Okay, what's her name?
5237 Murfreesboro Road. That's a bunch of nice liquidators. I think Miss Debbie, I think, has really went out on the limb. Kind of her and her son is really gonna try to do it as good. So everybody come out and give blood. That's it. Thank you.
Alderman Broker?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to thank everyone for kind words and the cards and the emails and coming to the visitation and all, especially to LPD for escorting all the way to Pegram, which through the back roads is almost 50 miles. So thank you very much. It meant a lot to my family. So.
And they did look mighty sharp.
They did.
I have to pick on the PD, that fire department. Miss Vicki, I've got a shirt about firefighters, and Miss Vicki's gonna pull hers out about the police, and we're gonna have us a battle going on the National Night Out, so. We have a lot of, we're gonna have us a tug of war. We have a lot of fun with that. And I just want, and on that note, I really enjoy seeing the good camaraderie. We all have a blast. My husband picks on the chief unmercifully, but it's all in good fun, and I love seeing that. That's what a community's all about. We like to pick and play and carry on, but when we can get down to business, we get down to business. And we've got a great group going on here, and I want to thank everybody for the National Night Outs, the Old Timers Days, and the music in the parks, and it's awesome. And like I said, I've gotten a lot of comments on how much people are really appreciating how our community is becoming a community again. And it's due to all of y'all working together. And I want to thank you. I apologize for the late night. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to this board for your attention. Welcome, new attorney, Chris. Nick. Chris.
Stand up, Nick.
I told you I've got to come up with a nickname for you.
Whichever you like. You start calling. Nick Knack. I'll call you Nick Knack.
Nick Knack. Okay, I can remember that.
Yeah.
But welcome.
I'm glad I got my feet wet, so it was a pretty lengthy meeting. It went well.
Exactly.
Welcome to our team, and appreciate having you. Everybody, job's well done. Thank you very, very much. Go out, be safe. I think we had some storms coming. You're very much appreciated. Meeting adjourned.